Hello friends. When a Capricorn man meets a Cancer woman, something quietly magnetic begins to unfold, like the slow rise of the moon over a mountain range. On the surface, they might appear worlds apart. He's all about structure, logic, and ambition. She's a creature of emotion, intuition, and nurturing energy. But underneath that contrast lies one of the zodiac's most intriguing and enduring pairings, a love that thrives on stability, tenderness, and unspoken understanding. So what really happens when Earth meets water, when Saturn's stoic sun falls for the Moon's gentle daughter? Let's dive deep into the emotional tides and solid ground that shape this cosmic connection. After watching, if you'd like to support the channel, click the Thanks button right under this video or use the donation alerts link in the description. Your support really helps me keep creating. And of course, if you enjoy the content, please give it a like and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Thanks so much for being here. Now let's continue. Chemistry. Initial attraction. At first glance, their attraction is subtle, more of a quiet pull than a blazing spark, but beneath that calm surface brews an entire ocean of magnetism waiting to be discovered. Capricorn men have this rare, understated kind of charisma. It's not the kind that shouts for attention across the room. It's the kind that lingers, the kind that makes you want to look twice without even knowing why. His presence carries gravity, as though his very silence has weight. He doesn't need to flash charm or boast. He simply is, and that's enough to command the attention of those who value authenticity over showmanship. The Cancer woman feels this pull almost instinctively. To her, the Capricorn man's composure is a mystery wrapped in restraint. He stands like a fortress, firm, grounded, seemingly unmoved by the chaos of the world. Yet there's something in his stillness that calls to her. She feels an almost psychic curiosity, a gentle whisper that says, there's more beneath the surface. And for someone as intuitive as Cancer, that unspoken depth becomes irresistible. Capricorn, on the other hand, is not easily impressed. He watches her, not with arrogance, but with intent. He studies the subtle ways she expresses kindness, the way she listens rather than speaks, the softness that seems to follow her like a scent of jasmine in summer air. Her warmth disarms him, and that in itself unsettles him. Capricorn men are used to control, emotional control, mental control, even physical composure. Yet with her, control begins to blur at the edges. There's something about her presence that dismantles his emotional armor, piece by piece, without him realizing it's happening. Her laughter, light and melodic, seems to echo somewhere deep within him, a sound that reminds him of childhood, of forgotten comfort, of simpler moments when vulnerability wasn't something to hide. He catches himself thinking of her voice when he's alone, of the way her eyes glimmer with unspoken empathy, of the way she feels like home before she even speaks the word. He can't quite explain it, but he knows he feels safer around her than around most. For the Cancer woman, that safety is exactly what draws her closer. She is the moon, ever shifting, reflective, emotional, and she has spent much of her life seeking stability amidst her own tides. When she meets Capricorn, she finds something she didn't expect. Someone who doesn't drown in her emotions, someone who stands firm when the water rises. His calmness doesn't repel her, it soothes her. His predictability doesn't bore her, it grounds her. While others may find Capricorn's seriousness intimidating, Cancer sees through it like sunlight through glass. Beneath his discipline, she senses tenderness, the kind that rarely reveals itself but is always present. She feels the care behind his structured life, the quiet passion that fuels his ambition, and she recognizes in him a protector, a provider, a soul who builds rather than destroys. To him, she is the antidote to the loneliness he never admits. Capricorn men often live behind invisible walls, tall and sturdy, built from years of self-reliance. But Cancer has a key: empathy. Her emotional intelligence allows her to sense the ache behind his stoicism, the longing behind his silence. She doesn't try to fix him, she simply feels him, and that, more than anything, makes him trust her. Their chemistry grows in layers, not explosions. It's in the shared glances that last a little too long, in the comfortable pauses that don't demand to be filled, in the mutual respect that precedes affection. When they talk, their conversations glide effortlessly between the practical and the poetic. She might ask him about his dreams, and he, though usually guarded, finds himself answering honestly, perhaps for the first time in years. There's an unspoken recognition between them. The realist meets the dreamer, the mountain meets the sea. Their connection feels both ancient and inevitable, like two elements that were always meant to meet but had to wait for the right season. Capricorn feels drawn to her nurturing nature because it offers him something rare, softness without weakness. Cancer, meanwhile, finds in him a man who doesn't just promise stability but embodies it. He becomes her emotional anchor, and she becomes his emotional compass. He teaches her to stand tall when feelings overwhelm her, and she teaches him that tenderness is not the enemy of strength. It's a dance of contrast, the builder and the dreamer, the strategist and the empath. When they move together, their differences don't clash, they harmonize. His structured rhythm gives shape to her emotional flow, and her emotional intuition fills the spaces his logic cannot reach. Their chemistry is not loud or chaotic, it's the quiet unfolding of trust, the slow realization that love doesn't have to be dramatic to be powerful. It's in the little things, how she makes him laugh without trying, how he remembers her favorite tea without being told twice, how they both crave peace more than passion, yet find both in each other. It's the kind of connection that feels destined, though neither would admit it aloud. To outsiders, it may appear understated, even mundane. But to them, it's sacred. It's an emotional alchemy that transforms caution into closeness, solitude into shared serenity. He grounds her, she heals him, and together, they create a bond that feels less like falling and more like arriving home. Emotional dynamics. Emotionally, this pairing is as intricate as a symphony, layered with contrasting tones that somehow blend into something hauntingly beautiful once both partners learn to hear each other's melody. For the Capricorn man, emotions are not a language he grew up speaking freely. They're a code he keeps encrypted behind logic, control, and a carefully maintained sense of order. He approaches feelings the way he approaches his ambitions, strategically, cautiously, never impulsively. He believes that discipline keeps him safe, and that emotional exposure is a kind of weakness that can dismantle years of self-mastery. He's learned to keep his heart guarded not because he doesn't feel deeply, but because he feels too deeply, and fears that once those gates open, he might not know how to close them again. Cancer, on the other hand, was born in the water, and water doesn't know how to hold back. Her emotions run through her like currents, powerful and constant. She senses moods in the room before a single word is spoken. She feels the shift in someone's tone as if it were a change in the weather. To her, emotion is truth, raw, sacred, and essential. She believes that love should be expressed, touched, spoken, lived. When she loves, she pours her whole being into it. And so, when she meets the Capricorn man and senses the quiet storm within him, she can't help but reach out, wanting to soothe what he hides behind that stoic calm. In the beginning, this difference feels both magnetic and maddening. He is drawn to her ability to feel so freely, to cry without shame, to comfort without agenda. But at the same time, he doesn't quite know what to do with it. Her openness feels unfamiliar, almost dangerous. He's used to measured exchanges, to emotional restraint. So when she says, "Tell me what's wrong," he doesn't know how to answer. His instinct is to retreat, to process in solitude, to regain control before showing any sign of vulnerability. For Cancer, that retreat feels like rejection. Her mind fills in the blanks. He doesn't care. He's shutting me out. He's cold. But the truth is, Capricorn isn't cold. He's scared. His fear is not of her but of himself, of the depth of his own emotions, of the possibility that love could make him lose his hard-won equilibrium. Misunderstandings bloom easily between them. She interprets his silence as distance. He interprets her tears as chaos. She seeks reassurance, wanting to hear, "I love you," wanting to see it reflected in his eyes. He shows love through action, fixing things, planning for the future, showing up when it counts. To him, that's enough proof. To her, it's not about proof but connection. She needs to feel the emotional thread between them, to know it's alive and tended to. As time passes, they start to decode each other. She realizes that behind his reserved demeanor is a man who loves with depth and constancy. He may not always say the words, but his devotion is carved into his daily gestures, the way he protects, the way he keeps promises, the way he quietly anticipates her needs. He begins to see that her emotions aren't burdens but bridges, invitations to intimacy, not threats to his control. It's not an easy learning curve. There are days when her emotional intensity overwhelms him, and he retreats to his inner fortress. There are nights when his stoicism leaves her crying into the pillow, wondering if he'll ever truly let her in. But love, for these two, is patient. It grows not in dramatic declarations but in the small, consistent acts of trying again, of choosing each other even when they don't fully understand each other yet. Over time, Capricorn learns to lean into vulnerability. He discovers that sharing his fears doesn't make him weak, it makes him real. The first time he admits to her that he's scared of failure, she doesn't pity him, she admires his honesty. The first time he lets her comfort him instead of brushing it off, he realizes that emotional connection can be grounding, not destabilizing. Cancer's empathy teaches him that being seen doesn't mean losing control, it means finding safety in another soul. Cancer, in turn, learns the beauty of restraint. She realizes that not every silence is emptiness, sometimes it's peace. She understands that his way of processing isn't avoidance but care, his desire to respond thoughtfully, not impulsively. She learns that love doesn't always have to be spoken loudly. Sometimes it's expressed in the way he holds her a little tighter at night, in the way he fixes her car, or in how he shows up every single time she needs him. Gradually, they develop a rhythm, her tides adjust to his seasons, and his earth learns to make space for her waters. When she spirals into emotional overwhelm, he becomes her anchor, reminding her that the world won't collapse just because she feels deeply. When he retreats into work or silence, she becomes his warmth, drawing him back to connection without judgment. Their emotional dance becomes a balance of grounding and flow. He steadies her waves, teaching her to find stillness amidst emotion. She softens his edges, teaching him that there's grace in imperfection, beauty in surrender. Together, they learn that love isn't about control or chaos, it's about coexistence. When Capricorn finally lets his guard down, it happens gradually, almost imperceptibly. He begins to trust her with his unspoken worries, his past disappointments, his private dreams. He learns to speak not with perfection but with sincerity. And when Cancer sees this side of him, the unmasked, vulnerable version, she feels honored because she knows how rare it is for him to share it. That moment becomes the emotional heartbeat of their relationship. They grow into a love that doesn't demand constant proof or perfection. She accepts that he won't always say everything she wants to hear, but when he does speak, it's genuine. He accepts that her emotions will sometimes surge and that it's okay. He doesn't need to fix them, only to hold space for them. In that acceptance, both find peace. Eventually, their connection evolves into something mature, profound, and quietly unbreakable. It's not the fireworks kind of love, it's the steady flame that endures through every storm. He finds freedom in feeling, and she finds strength in patience. Their differences no longer divide them, they define them. Cancer teaches Capricorn that the heart can be both soft and strong. Capricorn shows Cancer that emotions, when grounded, can build rather than destroy. Together, they write a new definition of love, one that honors both vulnerability and stability, emotion and reason, moonlight and mountain stone. And when they finally understand each other's rhythms, something magical happens. Their love becomes an emotional home, a place where her tenderness and his endurance coexist in perfect harmony. She no longer fears his silence, he no longer fears her tears. Each has learned to speak the other's language without words. Their love, in the end, feels like an anchor in the storm, steady, unyielding, alive. It doesn't just survive emotion, it's fueled by it. It's a quiet, sacred kind of fulfillment that only two opposites, brave enough to meet in the middle, can ever truly know. Long-term compatibility. When it comes to long-term love, Capricorn and Cancer form one of astrology's most quietly powerful and enduring partnerships. Their bond doesn't erupt in grand gestures or fleeting sparks. It's the slow, deliberate kind of love that deepens with time, like an oak tree spreading its roots deeper into the earth each passing year. At first glance, they seem to be two souls moving in different rhythms. Capricorn, the mountain climber, obsessed with stability and accomplishment. Cancer, the nurturer, focused on emotional connection and the comfort of home. Yet as the years unfold, they discover that these rhythms don't clash, they complement, creating a steady heartbeat that sustains their relationship for decades. Both crave security, but they define it in different languages. For Capricorn, security means building, constructing a future brick by brick, ensuring that every aspect of life is organized, planned, and safe from chaos. His love expresses itself through action and foresight. He's the kind of man who thinks about retirement while others are still living paycheck to paycheck. He saves not only money but energy, commitment, and patience to invest in what he values most: longevity. For him, relationships are not fleeting adventures, they are projects of the soul. Cancer, meanwhile, seeks a different kind of security, the emotional one. Her vision of the future isn't about bank accounts or promotions. It's about closeness, laughter over breakfast, shared memories, and emotional peace. She dreams of a life rich with meaning rather than possessions. When she imagines a long-term partner, she imagines someone who makes her feel protected, cherished, and understood. When these two come together, their combined desire for safety becomes their greatest strength. Capricorn builds the walls that protect their world. Cancer fills those walls with warmth and life. He ensures the foundation is unshakable, while she ensures the home above it is alive with love. Their relationship becomes a blend of structure and sentiment, solid on the outside, tender at the core. But this harmony doesn't happen overnight. Capricorn must learn that love cannot be managed like a financial portfolio. He must remind himself that emotions aren't inefficiencies, they are the fuel that gives purpose to his structure. Cancer, on the other hand, must learn not to interpret his drive as emotional neglect. His long work hours, his meticulous planning, his endless pursuit of stability, they are his way of showing love, even if it's not through whispered words or daily affection. When they respect each other's methods, their connection transforms into something deeply sustaining. He becomes her anchor in times of fear, she becomes his sanctuary in times of exhaustion. When Capricorn faces setbacks in his career, Cancer's empathy gives him the courage to keep going. When Cancer's emotions become overwhelming, Capricorn's calm steadiness reminds her that everything will be all right. Their long-term compatibility is rooted in shared values: loyalty, family, tradition, and endurance. Both believe that love is a commitment, not a convenience. Capricorn won't give up easily. Cancer doesn't know how to stop caring. Even when conflict arises, and it will, they rarely walk away. Capricorn's patience and Cancer's nurturing nature compel them to fix rather than flee. They understand that true love isn't found in perfection but in persistence. Over the years, their relationship evolves through silent teamwork. Capricorn may be the one managing finances or planning for the next 10 years, while Cancer quietly manages the heart of their world: birthdays, small traditions, emotional check-ins, the intangible threads that keep two souls tied together. To outsiders, they may appear ordinary, but to each other, they are extraordinary in their constancy. As time passes, the Capricorn man's ambition often softens under Cancer's influence. He begins to see that success isn't only measured in milestones or wealth, it's measured in peace, laughter, and shared mornings. Her presence becomes his most treasured achievement. He starts taking more time off, cherishing evenings at home, learning to live instead of simply striving. Cancer, in turn, becomes stronger in his presence. She learns from his discipline, adopts some of his practicality, and finds comfort in knowing that she doesn't have to face life's storms alone. Together, they become a portrait of enduring devotion, one that ages gracefully rather than fades. Their shared life feels intentional, like something they've both designed with care. The home they build, whether physical or emotional, becomes a symbol of balance: Capricorn's walls of protection, Cancer's glow of love within. There are moments of friction, of course. Capricorn's obsession with goals can make him emotionally unavailable at times, lost in thought about future plans while she simply wants him present now. Cancer's need for reassurance can feel, to him, like emotional demand. But when they remember that they're on the same team, those differences dissolve into understanding. He learns to pause and say, "I'm here." She learns to give him space to breathe. Their longevity comes not from avoiding conflict but from mastering compromise. They approach each challenge as builders, he with logic, she with heart. He repairs what's cracked, she soothes what's bruised. Over time, their love develops an almost telepathic understanding, an unspoken communication that needs no explanation. He knows when her heart feels heavy just by looking into her eyes. She senses his fatigue before he says a word. In their later years, their bond matures into something serene. They stop chasing excitement and start cherishing presence. The world around them may change, careers shift, children grow, life throws its storms, but their connection remains steadfast. They've built something that time cannot erode. When they sit together in silence, it's not empty. It's full of history, of trust, of quiet gratitude. Capricorn, once the planner of futures, begins to live more in the moment, thanks to her influence. Cancer, once fearful of instability, feels unshakably safe in his arms. They become each other's mirror, reflecting not only who they are but who they've become through love. Long-term, their compatibility transcends mere romance. It becomes a partnership of souls working in harmony toward a shared peace. They don't just survive life together, they build it, nurture it, and protect it. He is the builder of their outer world, she is the guardian of their inner one. Each needs the other for balance. So when people ask what keeps a Capricorn man and Cancer woman together for decades, the answer is simple yet profound: mutual respect for what the other brings. He provides the frame, she paints the canvas. He gives structure, she gives meaning. He offers strength, she offers warmth. In the end, their love story isn't a whirlwind romance, it's an architectural masterpiece. Layer by layer, year by year, they construct a life that feels unbreakable. Their hearts become intertwined not by fire but by faith, faith in each other, in shared dreams, in the idea that real love isn't about perfection but endurance. Their long-term compatibility, then, is not a miracle. It's a choice repeated every single day. A quiet yes whispered between two people who have learned that love, when built with patience and care, can truly last a lifetime. Communication conflict resolution. When these two clash, and they inevitably will, it's like witnessing two completely different emotional languages attempting to find common ground. Capricorn and Cancer are, at their cores, emotional opposites. He is composed, methodical, a thinker who retreats inward to process. She is expressive, heartfelt, a feeler who spills her emotions as they come. When harmony reigns between them, their balance is exquisite. She brings feeling to his structure, he brings structure to her feelings. But when tension rises, their differences can feel like an ocean between two distant shores. Cancer fights with her heart exposed. When something hurts, she can't hide it. It shows in her eyes, in her tone, in the trembling edge of her voice. She expresses pain immediately, urgently, as if she's bleeding emotion and the only way to stop it is to let it flow. She speaks from the heart, sometimes dramatically, but always with sincerity. For her, silence is unbearable. She needs to talk it out. She wants to feel seen, heard, understood, because for Cancer, communication is love in motion. Capricorn, however, reacts differently. Conflict triggers his instinct for control. When voices rise, he shuts down. When emotions flood the room, he seeks the nearest exit into quiet solitude. His mind goes to work, dissecting, analyzing, trying to build logical order out of emotional chaos. To Cancer, his silence feels like withdrawal. To him, her tears feel like waves threatening to drown reason. He needs time, not because he doesn't care, but because he does. He's afraid that if he reacts too soon, he'll say something careless, something that might wound her. And so, the cycle begins. She pushes for dialogue, her emotions raw and unfiltered, while he retreats deeper into himself. She feels ignored, He feels overwhelmed. She raises her voice, desperate to be heard. He shuts down further, protecting his peace. It's not malice, it's miscommunication, a collision between emotion and restraint. The magic of this pairing, though, lies in their ability to learn each other's rhythm. Once they realize that their conflict isn't about opposition but translation, everything changes. Capricorn begins to understand that listening, really listening, isn't surrendering control, it's participating in love. He learns that sometimes she doesn't need a solution, she needs a presence. He discovers that words like, "I hear you," "I understand," and "I'm sorry," have a power greater than silence. Cancer, in turn, learns that not every pause is rejection. Sometimes his stillness means he's processing, trying to make sense of how to respond thoughtfully rather than impulsively. She learns that his need for space isn't abandonment, it's recalibration. When she gives him time to breathe, she's not losing connection, she's allowing understanding to take root. Over time, they begin to meet in the middle. Their communication, once clumsy and full of tension, becomes their strongest link. He brings reason to her emotion, she brings heart to his logic. Together, they discover a kind of dialogue that feels like a dance, each learning when to step forward, when to step back, when to lead, and when to follow. When arguments arise, Cancer's instinct might still be to emote, to talk, to cry. But now, Capricorn no longer runs. He stays, even if silent. His presence itself becomes an act of love. He may not have the perfect words, but his steady gaze tells her, "I'm here, and I care." And for Cancer, that's enough. It disarms her. It softens her. Her tears become quieter, her tone gentler. She feels safe to express herself without fear of being dismissed. In turn, Cancer's vulnerability teaches Capricorn how to express his own emotions more openly. He starts saying what he once only thought. The first time he admits, "You hurt me," instead of burying it under stoicism, she feels an overwhelming surge of connection. His words, sparse as they may be, carry weight because they're true. Every confession he makes feels monumental. She knows it takes courage for him to step into the realm of feeling, and she never takes it lightly. Together, they refine their emotional timing. Capricorn learns to speak sooner, before the silence grows too wide to bridge. Cancer learns to listen longer, without assuming or overreacting. They build a communication style that is deliberate but heartfelt, like letters written by hand instead of messages sent in haste. Their conflicts, once dramatic and draining, transform into opportunities for growth. When disagreements happen, they approach them as a team, not opponents. Capricorn brings structure to the discussion, organizing thoughts, setting calm boundaries, while Cancer brings empathy, ensuring that no one's heart gets lost in the logic. He'll say, "Let's talk about this when we're calmer," and instead of feeling dismissed, she begins to trust that space can lead to healing. Eventually, their communication becomes intuitive. They start reading each other's moods without words. A subtle glance, a change in tone, a sigh. These small cues speak volumes. Capricorn knows when she needs comfort without explanation, and Cancer senses when he needs silence without resentment. They develop a shared emotional intelligence that transcends argument. Even in their worst moments, they never fight dirty. Capricorn won't throw insults, it's beneath him. Cancer won't stay angry for long. Her heart can't hold grudges. Their apologies come in the form of gestures, him making her morning coffee after a rough night, her leaving a handwritten note by his briefcase. Love becomes their unspoken language, the glue that binds even their broken moments. As years go by, they become seasoned communicators. They understand that real communication isn't just about words, it's about timing, tone, trust, and tenderness. They master the art of listening not to respond but to understand. Their conversations evolve into a safe haven where both logic and feeling coexist without competition. Capricorn's calm helps Cancer articulate her thoughts without spiraling. Cancer's warmth reminds Capricorn that emotions are not threats, they are truths. When he forgets to express affection, she gently reminds him that love needs to be seen as much as felt. When she gets lost in her emotions, he gently grounds her with reason. Neither dominates, Both contribute. And so, communication becomes their bridge, the sacred ground where two very different souls meet. They stop trying to change each other and start celebrating their differences. Capricorn realizes that her emotions give life color. Cancer realizes that his logic gives it form. He steadies the ship, she fills the sails. Conflict, once a storm, becomes a teacher. They learn patience, compassion, humility. They discover that disagreement doesn't weaken their bond, it refines it. Each argument leaves them a little wiser, a little closer. Every resolved misunderstanding becomes another layer of trust. By the time they've walked together through years of love and life, they've built something extraordinary, a communication style rooted in respect and maturity. They don't yell to be heard, they speak to connect. They don't argue to win, they seek to understand. Capricorn learns that love doesn't thrive in silence but in shared truth. Cancer learns that truth doesn't always need to be shouted, it can be whispered and still mean everything. Together, they evolve into partners who navigate emotion and reason with grace. Their relationship becomes a masterclass in emotional intelligence, an example of how two opposing elements can fuse into harmony. In the end, their communication is not perfect, but it's real, human, and deeply intimate. They talk, they listen, they forgive. They grow into a team that no longer fears conflict because they've learned to use it as a path back to closeness. Through time, their conversations turn into quiet understanding. They can sit together in silence and still say everything that matters. That is the mark of their true compatibility. Not the absence of conflict, but the ability to resolve it with love. Physical intimate connection. Physically, the relationship between a Capricorn man and a Cancer woman unfolds like a slow, tender awakening. A love story that doesn't erupt in fireworks but glows steadily like embers, warm and enduring. It begins with subtle gestures, lingering glances, accidental brushes of the hand that linger a heartbeat too long. Neither rushes, both intuitively understand that something sacred is building between them, something that deserves patience. Capricorn, reserved by nature, approaches intimacy the way he approaches everything important, with care, precision, and quiet intention. For him, physical connection is not a game or a conquest, it's an act of trust. He needs to feel emotionally grounded before surrendering to physical passion, and that patience becomes part of the allure. Cancer, ever sensitive and intuitive, senses this depth immediately. She is drawn to his stillness, to the calm energy that seems to hum beneath his controlled exterior. Her body responds to his presence not through lust alone but through emotional recognition. She feels, even before the first kiss, that this is someone with whom her heart can be safe. For her, physical intimacy has never been just about touch, it's about being seen. When she connects, she doesn't simply want to be desired, she wants to be understood. She wants her soul to be met as fully as her body. Their early physical encounters are hesitant, full of meaning and discovery. Capricorn studies her reactions carefully, learning her language, the arch of her back when he whispers something tender, the way her breath catches when his fingers trace the curve of her shoulder. Cancer, in turn, learns his rhythm, the unspoken pauses, the deliberate patience, the way he lingers as if memorizing her. Every kiss feels like a promise, every touch a wordless vow of respect. At first, Capricorn's restraint might make her wonder if he's holding back, but what she comes to understand is that for him, intimacy is sacred. He doesn't rush because he wants to savor. He treats her not as an object of passion but as a universe to be explored slowly, reverently. And once he feels emotionally safe, once he knows he can trust her with his vulnerability, the careful exterior melts away, revealing a lover both powerful and tender. When they come together fully, the experience is transformative. Capricorn's touch carries reassurance. His hands communicate steadiness, control, devotion. He grounds her, centers her, gives her body a sense of belonging. Cancer's embrace, by contrast, is liquid warmth. She flows into him, wrapping him in emotion so rich it feels almost spiritual. She teaches him the language of intimacy that transcends words, a language spoken through sighs, softness, and the quiet rhythm of two hearts synchronizing. Their physical connection becomes a mirror of their emotional bond, deeply sensual, yet always infused with meaning. For Capricorn, Cancer's vulnerability becomes his invitation to shed his armor. For Cancer, Capricorn's strength becomes her sanctuary. They meet halfway, her softness teaching him to feel, his steadiness teaching her to trust. In their private world, passion doesn't erupt, it blooms. Theirs is the kind of intimacy that grows more profound with time. Early encounters are tender, almost shy. Later ones carry the weight of shared memories, laughter, tears, and silent understanding. Capricorn learns that the real pleasure lies not in control but in surrender, in the moment he stops thinking and simply feels. Cancer learns that pleasure can be grounding, not consuming, that it can make her feel more whole, not more lost. Their lovemaking becomes a ritual of renewal, a space where both can be completely themselves. He, who is so often burdened by responsibility and expectation, finds in her a freedom he didn't know he craved. She, who often gives and nurtures until she's empty, finds in him a well of safety that fills her again. When they touch, it's not about ownership or dominance but about union, the meeting of two energies, one earthy and one watery, that together creates something life-giving. Capricorn's deliberate nature means that every gesture is thoughtful. He notices details, the texture of her skin, the way her body responds to different tempos, the subtle sounds of pleasure that guide him like a map. His patience turns intimacy into art. Cancer responds with vulnerability, opening herself layer by layer, trusting that he will meet her tenderness with care. Her emotional openness softens him, draws him out of his shell, reminding him that true connection requires presence, not performance. In moments of passion, they balance each other perfectly. She brings warmth to his cool exterior, melting the icy composure he wears in the outside world. He brings structure to her emotions, grounding her so she can surrender without fear. Together, they create a rhythm that is both sensual and spiritual, slow, deliberate, and timeless. Their bodies move like a conversation, one where words are replaced by instinct, and silence speaks louder than anything else. Even outside the bedroom, their physical chemistry remains palpable. The way his hand rests protectively on the small of her back, the way she leans into him without thinking, it's as if their bodies remember what their minds no longer need to say. Their connection seeps into daily life, cooking together, walking hand in hand, brushing against each other in passing. Every touch becomes a reaffirmation, a gentle reminder that they belong to one another not through possession but through choice. With time, their intimacy matures. The initial passion evolves into something deeper, a fusion of comfort, familiarity, and desire. They learn to anticipate each other's needs effortlessly. Capricorn discovers that tenderness can be more erotic than intensity. Cancer realizes that steadiness can be more passionate than unpredictability. They find pleasure in the simplicity of connection, in shared breathing, in the quiet afterglow, in knowing that every embrace is an act of love rather than impulse. Trust becomes the bedrock of their physical world. Capricorn, once guarded, learns to reveal more of himself. He stops worrying about perfection, understanding that true intimacy thrives in imperfection, in laughter during tangled sheets, in whispered apologies, in the way she traces his scars and calls them beautiful. Cancer, feeling utterly safe, opens herself without hesitation. Her love becomes fearless, her sensuality confident. Together, they create a space where vulnerability isn't dangerous but divine. Their physical connection is not bound by time or age, it grows richer as they grow older. What begins as curiosity becomes devotion, and what begins as passion becomes communion. Even years into their relationship, there's a spark between them that doesn't fade. It deepens. Their chemistry ages like fine wine, subtler, more nuanced, but infinitely more intoxicating. When they make love after years together, it's no longer about discovery, it's about remembering who they are, what they've built, and how they've chosen to keep finding each other again and again. Every touch becomes a reaffirmation of loyalty, every kiss a vow renewed. Ultimately, for Capricorn and Cancer, physical intimacy is more than an act of passion. It's the very heartbeat of their love. It's where their differences dissolve, where her emotions and his logic merge into something seamless and whole. In each other's arms, they find what they both crave most, belonging. And so, their connection endures, grounded yet fluid, restrained yet overflowing. Their intimacy becomes a timeless rhythm, one that reminds them with every heartbeat, every breath, every quiet night together, that love, when built on trust and understanding, can be as eternal as the stars themselves. Shared values, life goals. When Capricorn and Cancer come together, their union is more than romantic, it's foundational. It's the meeting of two architects of life, each bringing their own blueprints for love, security, and purpose. Both are cardinal signs, initiators, builders, creators of worlds that last. But they build in different languages. Capricorn constructs from logic and foresight, while Cancer builds from emotion and intuition. Together, they design not just a relationship, but a legacy. Their shared values form an invisible thread that binds them long before they realize it. Both crave permanence. Both despise chaos. Both seek a kind of peace that only comes when life has meaning and love has structure. For Capricorn, meaning comes from tangible success, the steady climb toward stability, the satisfaction of knowing he's built something solid with his own hands. For Cancer, meaning is emotional. It's found in the laughter around a dinner table, in the warmth of a home filled with love, in the knowledge that everyone she cares for is safe and nurtured. To an outsider, they might seem like opposites, the ambitious realist and the sentimental dreamer, but in truth, their values are deeply intertwined. Capricorn's drive to achieve gives Cancer the safety she craves. Cancer's ability to love unconditionally gives Capricorn the emotional fuel to keep striving. He builds the walls that protect them, she turns those walls into a home. In the Capricorn man's world, achievement is love in action. When he works late, invests wisely, or makes sacrifices, he's not chasing ego, he's ensuring that the future he shares with her is secure. To him, security is the greatest gift he can offer. Cancer understands this language instinctively. She doesn't need luxury to feel loved. She needs presence, trust, and the sense that they're building something together. Her dream is not wealth but warmth, a world where emotions can thrive safely. Their shared goals often orbit around stability. Both value commitment. Once they choose each other, it's rarely temporary. They believe in building roots, not chasing fleeting pleasures. Capricorn's long-term vision perfectly complements Cancer's devotion to the present moment. He's thinking 10 years ahead. She's thinking about how to make tonight special. Together, they cover every angle of time. She ensures they never lose the sweetness of now, and he ensures there will always be a tomorrow to look forward to. Their home becomes the physical manifestation of their values. Capricorn ensures the bills are paid, the foundation is strong, and the future secure. Cancer ensures the home is filled with softness, with comfort, memories, and care. She adds color to his structure, turning practicality into poetry. He, in turn, gives her a sense of grounding, reminding her that love, to last, needs more than emotion, it needs endurance. They share a quiet reverence for tradition. Family, loyalty, and honor matter deeply to both. Capricorn may express it through legacy, wanting to provide for generations to come, while Cancer expresses it through connection, ensuring those generations are emotionally bonded. Their Sunday dinners, their small rituals, their shared routines, these are sacred acts that embody what they both believe, that life's greatest achievements are found not in public victories but in private moments of belonging. Yet even the strongest foundation needs flexibility. Capricorn's desire for control can sometimes feel stifling to the emotionally fluid Cancer. He builds schedules and structures, she flows like water, preferring to follow the tides of feeling. She might want a spontaneous beach day when he's buried in work plans. He might see her sensitivity as impractical when he's focused on results. These differences, if unacknowledged, can lead to frustration. But when they respect their roles, when Capricorn realizes that emotion has its own kind of wisdom, and Cancer accepts that order has its own form of love, balance is restored. He leads with strategy, she leads with heart. He teaches her that stability doesn't kill passion, it protects it. She teaches him that emotion doesn't weaken ambition, it humanizes it. In the grand design of life, they often find themselves aligned without even trying. Both want a home that feels like sanctuary, careers that bring meaning, and relationships that endure. Capricorn may see success as the mountain he must climb. Cancer sees it as the family gathered safely at the base. Each gives the other what they lack. He gives her structure, she gives him softness. He provides the means, she provides the motive. Their life goals complement each other naturally. Capricorn dreams of building an empire, not out of greed, but out of duty. He wants to create something lasting. Cancer dreams of filling that empire with love, making sure that behind every wall there's warmth, behind every achievement there's affection. Together, they create a world that's both practical and profound. They share a deep belief in perseverance. Both are fighters in their own way. Capricorn battles through discipline and patience, Cancer through emotional resilience and love. When life challenges them, they don't crumble. He strategizes the way forward, she nurtures hope along the way. His logic prevents panic, her compassion prevents despair. Their shared goal isn't perfection, but peace, a steady, fulfilling existence where love is both the journey and the destination. Their approach to money also reflects shared but complementary values. Capricorn sees it as security, a shield against the unpredictable. Cancer sees it as comfort, a way to create beauty and care for loved ones. Together, they find balance between saving for the future and living in the present. He invests wisely, she spends meaningfully. Neither wastes, neither hoards, they create prosperity with purpose. Raising a family often becomes the heart of their shared dream. Capricorn provides the structure, the lessons, the boundaries, the long-term planning. Cancer provides the soul, the tenderness, the emotional education, the nurturing environment. Their children, if they have them, grow up surrounded by both stability and warmth, learning that love is not just a feeling but a daily act of devotion. Even in friendships and community, they live by similar ethics. Loyalty is sacred, promises are kept. They don't believe in half measures or temporary bonds. When they commit to a person, a project, a dream, they do so wholeheartedly. This shared seriousness of purpose makes their connection feel deeply grounded, even when the rest of the world feels uncertain. And yet, beneath all this structure and purpose, there's poetry. Capricorn, for all his stoicism, secretly loves how Cancer fills his life with meaning beyond metrics. She makes him stop and notice the little things, the way morning light hits the kitchen counter, the sound of rain on the roof they built together, the smell of her cooking that turns his house into a home. In return, she adores the safety of his presence, the predictability that allows her heart to bloom without fear. Their shared goals evolve as they grow older. In youth, it may be about building careers, homes, futures. In maturity, it becomes about preserving memories, legacies, love itself. They want to look back and say not only, we made it, but we made it together. Their life's work isn't just in what they've achieved, but in what they've nurtured, the invisible wealth of love, trust, and shared purpose. Even their disagreements on values tend to resolve through mutual respect. Capricorn may not always understand the depth of her emotional priorities, but he never dismisses them. Cancer may not always relate to his obsession with goals, but she respects the intention behind them. They know that their differences are complementary, not contradictory, that one builds the outer world while the other builds the inner. Ultimately, their shared values are their greatest strength. Where many relationships fade under pressure, Capricorn and Cancer endure because they are anchored by the same principles: loyalty, stability, growth, and devotion. They may walk at different paces, but they always move in the same direction. For them, life is not about fleeting excitement but lasting fulfillment. Their love story is written not in moments of chaos, but in years of quiet partnership, in plans made over coffee, in goals pursued hand in hand, in the shared dream of creating something that stands the test of time. In the end, their compatibility is not merely about attraction or chemistry, it's about vision. Together, they believe in love as work, as creation, as legacy. He builds the frame, she paints the soul within it. He dreams of success, she dreams of belonging. And somehow, beautifully, those dreams merge into one shared life, one shared heartbeat, one enduring promise that says, "We're in this together, for life." Final thoughts. The love between a Capricorn man and a Cancer woman is not loud, impulsive, or fleeting. It's quiet, steady, and deeply rooted, like a tree that grows stronger with every passing season. They may not always understand each other right away, but that's part of their beauty. Their differences aren't barriers, they're opportunities for growth. He teaches her the strength of patience, she teaches him the courage of feeling. Together, they create a partnership that blends logic and emotion, ambition and affection, structure and soul. It's a love that builds, heals, and endures. So if you ever find yourself in this pairing, Capricorn and Cancer, don't be fooled by your contrasts. Those very differences are what make your connection rare and resilient. You're not just compatible, you're complementary. One provides the armor, the other the heartbeat. And together, you form a love story that can stand the test of time, quiet, profound, and eternally faithful.